Hey, what's going on, my friend? This is Dave Sharp. Welcome to this exciting day. I'm shooting this video for you here on my brand new iPhone, so I'm super excited about that. I'm walking around here in my office. As you can sort of see a little bit of it in the background here. Yes, this massive space is all mine, right? Need all this space to be thinking, quiet, so I can think about marketing and come up with ideas and angles and just do my thing. So I'm super excited to be talking to you about a topic that a lot of marketers don't talk about because marketers, particularly advertisers, who are advertising to new marketers, would prefer to talk about shiny things, things that are sexy. And tracking is not always sexy, right? But what I learned is, and I had to learn this the hard way, is that if I don't track something, then I'm not going to be able to be successful with it, and what's not tracked is not improved. And so today we're going to talk about tracking, and we're going to talk about how to track your advertising campaigns, because if you're going to start with advertising, which is what we're going to talk about this week, the first thing that you need to really understand is, how can I track my advertising campaigns? And without this essential piece without this essential tool and without this essential knowledge, you could go out there and be an advertising master. But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you something that I hope you'll always remember. And that's that being a great advertiser is not actually the key and the secret to being successful with online marketing. It's not about writing amazing copy or having the perfect funnel. It's really about knowing your numbers, because you may have a campaign that's succeeding, but because you're not tracking it, you feel like it's failing and you stop it. And I would say that more often than not is what happens with online marketers, is that because they're not tracking their marketing the right way, they stop before the miracle happens, so to say. They stop before a campaign actually has matured enough to start producing visible profits. And oftentimes you have to have a certain life cycle or allow your customer to go through a life cycle, which that life cycle may be 3 days, it may be 6 days, it may be 90 days. I know in one of our companies, the life cycle, which means, and when I say the life cycle, that means that the customer has actually, the average time that the customer stays engaged with your company and is buying products. And the best example that I could probably give you is Apple. So say Apple runs an advertising campaign in 1989, and a man named John in California gets excited about Apple products and buys his first Apple computer. And maybe, let's say, for example, that Apple spent $1,000 to acquire John, but John only spent $500. Apple might look at that campaign and say, well, that's a failure. I spent $1,000 in marketing to acquire each customer. John spent, I lost $500. He only spent $500 in products. And then, of course, I had my overhead costs, so I actually only made a couple of hundred. But what Apple might not take into consideration is that John bought another Apple computer 3 years later. He bought an iPhone when it came out. He bought an iPad. He bought a laptop, and he just bought another iMac desktop computer here in 2020. So the life cycle of Apple's customer is decades. So even though that initial marketing campaign might have brought John in 1989, John's still spending money, and Apple has not needed to spend any additional advertising dollars to acquire that customer, because they already acquired him from that first campaign. Does that make sense? So what is the average life cycle for your customer? Now, if you're referring people into an affiliate company and that person's continuing to purchase products from that company and you're continuing to earn commissions, then that life cycle could last a long time. If that person's still on your email list and they're still purchasing products from you 6 months or 12 months or 2 years or 5 years later, they're still in that life cycle. So that particular life cycle number is your lifetime value of that customer. So you need to understand what your lifetime value of a customer is, and obviously you have to be able to track it. So I like to actually track my lifetime value of my customer in certain increments, whether it be 30 or 90 or 6 months or 1 year. A lot of times, because I'm in it for the long game, I'll look at my overall numbers after 1 year and I'll say, okay, this is what the average lifetime value of a customer is. This is how much we made. This is how many customers we brought in. This is how much we spent in advertising, because I've given those customers a full year to mature and to see all of our offers and time to buy. And sometimes people will buy something and then not buy something again for 6 or 9 months. But then all of a sudden, 6 months later, they buy something from you for $5,000. Well, boom, all of a sudden that money that you spent to acquire that customer 9 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever, you just added on an extra $5,000 profit. So you have to take that into consideration when you're advertising. But when you start an advertising campaign, it is important to measure your metrics at least in 30-day increments. And so I'm sort of working backwards as I talk about this, because I first want you to understand that you should always be advertising. You should always be keeping your pipeline full, because if you continue to advertise and if you stay in business, then most likely people are going to continue to buy from you for months and years to come. Okay, so that's a fact. I hope that you've been inspired throughout this training to make a decision that, okay, I'm going to actually commit and be in this for the long term. So hopefully we've inspired you to do that. And now I want to transition to talking about how to track things in shorter increments to know if you're creating a return on investment immediately. Because at the very most, or at the very least, I should say, we hope that we can run advertising campaigns that at the very least break even within 30 days. Because that means that if we can break even after 30 days, that everything after that is profit. And that's a safe way to advertise, right? If I know that I can break even within 30 days, everything after that is profit. And that's the recipe for a super successful business. And so what I'm going to do here in a second is I'm going to transition back to a clip that I showed you last week. I think it was last week in the sales funnel training, where I kicked off how to actually build effective sales funnels that week. And I'm gonna zero in on a specific 10-minute part to where I talk about tracking. And you're gonna see how, if we would not have tracked our campaign to actually track the sales that were being made on the phone, which is what we call back-end sales, then we would have actually thought that the campaign flopped, because we were only tracking what was happening on the internet, what they were buying without a phone call. But what we do in many of our companies is we will have or in many of our marketing campaigns, is we'll initially sell something on the internet, some sort of a low cost tripwire or loss leader, break even type product, to give somebody a taste of what we offer. And then we'll bring them in and sell them something higher priced and more advanced and that has more value, either via a webinar or via a phone call. Okay. And so you'll see how I break down this campaign. This was, again, a campaign that I was selling training products to network marketers. And you'll see how I break this down. Now, what I'm going to do when I come back, is I'm going to actually give you the tracking sheet so you can actually use it in your business. So let's transition over to that talk. Listen closely, and I'll show you an example of how we actually track things to know where our profits are coming from and if our campaigns are actually profitable. So let me give you an actual behind the scenes look of one of our funnels, okay? Now this is a funnel that we ran in 2016, at the end of 2016. I'm going to give you some numbers for some current stuff that we're doing as well here in a second. But this was one of the funnels, the offers that we ran in 2016, okay? These particular numbers. Anybody ever seen my simple sign-up system funnel? Okay, so we sold many of you actually are in this event because you came through that funnel. I think you are, Merle, is that right? And you are as well. Tell me your name again, sir. Yeah, right here. Greg. And then Merle, and then Tom, you did too? Okay. So that, and then Corey, you came through that as well. Now this is very interesting. You came through that as well. Mark. Okay, so this is kind of interesting, right? These guys, a few of them, came through. They bought something for a couple of dollars, right? The front end offer I think was $3.95. I think was the front end offer. We gave away some videos. Great content, huh? Powerful content, especially for a guy who is not an internet marketer like you, Corey, right? I know. I'm talking to you because I know a bit about your story. But being mostly an offline traditional business guy, came from the network marketing space. Not a whole lot of internet marketing knowledge. None. Okay, comes through that simple sign-up system. I was targeting network marketers. Okay, because I know that industry, and so I was teaching them how to make money online or how to build their business online. Corey comes through. I want you guys to listen to this very, very carefully because this is how this works. Okay, Corey comes through, spends $3.95. Did you take any of the other upsells? Okay, he took 2 of the upsells, and then he comes through. Did you attend the Master of Enrollment workshop or no? Okay, so he didn't take the $1,000 Master of Enrollment workshop upsell. Okay, then all of a sudden we start Duplicate Dave at the beginning of 2017. He comes in. He enrolls in Duplicate Dave for $5,000, right? Because we've got a 50% pre-launch special right now. Comes in, no internet marketing knowledge whatsoever. Comes in, and you're at what now? So $32,000 in actual take-home money. Give him a round of applause. And because of that $32,000, he's done a significant amount of sales too. So it's just this business continues to blow my mind, right? It continues to blow my mind. Just a few months ago, I had no idea who he was. He saw a freaking ad on most likely Facebook, clicks it, opts in for the free thing, buys the $3, $4 thing, takes a couple of the upsells, doesn't take the $1,000 Master of Enrollment upsell, goes and enrolls and takes the Duplicate Dave, $5,000. Within 30, 45 days, he then, because there's an affiliate program, Earn While You Learn, makes $35,000, 35 or 32. Okay, let's just go conservative. Let's not $32,000. How many people are here because of Corey? Give him a round of applause, guys. So it really is we're empowering people to go into, now you're actually making videos every single day. You started a little brand, right? Social entrepreneur. So I see your videos, you're uploading videos. And so hopefully today, this YouTube training will help you. You know what I'm saying? Maybe take that to the next level, okay? So that particular funnel that he came through, let's go through some of the statistics, okay? Because I want to break it down for you to get you to understand exactly how this all works. So in the first week of December, we had 367 opt-ins. And you see over in the far left side, it looks like a little bit of the lettering's cut off, but I can tell you what those say. Number of opt-ins, 367, 404, 324, 435, with a total of 1,530 opt-ins throughout that month into that particular funnel. Okay, so 1,530 opt-ins. Now, a lot of this other information is just information that we track in-house, like number of applications, so people who filled out applications, coaching applications that came through there. the important numbers I have an arrow on. The total revenue for that funnel that month was $40,511.15. Okay, now when I tell you that initial front end funnel, so that's the lower price products, and in that particular funnel, we were selling simple sign up system for $3.95. We were selling network marketing launch formula for we had a traction code as an order bump. $19.95. Then we had network marketing launch formula for $47. The upsell rate on that network marketing formula at $47 was always like about 40%. So that's why we know that really that $47 upsell number really works real well. And then we sold story selling formula for $197 on the back end as well. So those were the break-even components of that funnel. Those were the products that you saw when you immediately first came through the funnel. You would buy the simple sign-up system, and then you would see 1 upsell, 2 upsell, 3 upsell. And that's why I asked if anybody did not know what a one-click upsell was yesterday, and I explained that to you guys. You remember that? Where you buy something, when's the best time to sell somebody something? When they just bought something else. Now, let me relate that to something else. Do you know when you go through a grocery store and you come up and they got all that shit there? And it really is shit. I mean, it's the 5-hour energies, it's the candy bars, it's all that kind of stuff. They know because you're in buying mode. The Inquirer magazines and all that stuff, they know that you're in buying mode. And that's the best. And obviously, if something's there, if an ad is still running, you know it's successful. And have you guys, some of you older folks in the room, has that always been the case with cash registers? They've always been there. So that is an obvious, effective upsell, folks. Okay? So that's why those front-end upsells. So in this funnel at $40,000, if you look right below that, you'll see the number $11,916.30. That's how much we spent on advertising. Okay? But if you go back up a couple of lines and you look at that $13,037.15 number, that's how much came from the online funnel. The rest of that money that made up that $40,000 came from our back-end telesales. And that was the majority of the money. So the front end, what the front end did was the front end just paid for our advertising cost. Is this making sense to everybody? The front end products were our break-even products. Now the reason why most people fail at internet marketing is because they don't understand this concept right here. And that's why they can't make their paid advertising work. Is this valuable? Okay. That's why they can't make their paid advertising work, is because they're just running a funnel, or they get involved in affiliate opportunities. Or, for example, why are most people never able to really scale or advertise network marketing companies, although we're now in this age to where social media is, it's an obvious no-brainer, right? But unfortunately, there's a lot of companies in direct sales who don't really understand the power of the internet. So they don't really know what to do with people who are marketing online, right? But the reason oftentimes why you can't scale businesses that don't have a bigger back end is because if I was only driving traffic into these front-end sales, I wouldn't have made any money. I would have. Typically, most marketers lose money. Even if I would have lost money on that $13,000 that we made back, say I only made back $5,000, and so I lost about $6,000 in that advertising. I still would have made it back because I have a back end. Does that make sense? So the problem why most people can't make money with paid advertising is because even if they lose a little bit of money on the front end, they think, oh my God, my advertising's not working. I'm losing money. But you don't have a premium price back end that's kicking in. Does that make sense? Equivian, did you have a breakthrough, brother? All right, my man. So here's where the you know, I like seeing this. It's like if what would be cool as hell for me is if there was little light bulbs on top of everybody's heads, and as they had a breakthrough, it was like their light bulb went off. It's like, oh, okay, I see you, bro. I see you. Oh, okay, see. Give her a round of applause over here. Her light bulb just went off. So what's really interesting, if you want to break this down to the granular level, which is my final arrow down there, we made $26.48 profit for every person that opted in after advertising. Let's really just make sure that we all understand what I'm talking about here. That means that there's a capture page there, okay? And every single time somebody puts their email into the capture page, it's like depositing $26.48 into my pocket. Yeah. Right? Now I want you to imagine if you had a system that was set up that did that for you. Now that's after advertising costs. This is the most transparent I can be with you, showing our internal numbers. These are the reports that Jeff sends me. Okay? And it's right here. Every single time somebody enters their email, not bot, just enters their email, it's like $26.48 profit. All right, my friend, this is Dave Sharp. Welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed that and that made sense. Now, what I want to do with you now is I want to actually give you, and that's going to be your bonus for today, I'm going to give you the actual tracking sheet that you can use. It's the same exact tracking sheet that we use that you can use inside of your marketing campaigns to plug in numbers. So you'll plug in your advertising cost, you'll plug in how many leads you generated, how many sales you generated, how much you paid in advertising, and it will give you the metrics of your campaign to let you know how much you made per customer, how much you made literally down to the lead, so you can know how much you earned per lead, per person opting into your landing page. So it's important to have all of these metrics. It's important to, I would say that a much less talented but more organized marketer could out-succeed a extremely talented, very disorganized marketer. So this is where I hope to shift how you think about online marketing. Away from, I got to be this charismatic person, I got to be this person who has all these special skill sets, over towards, I need to be somebody who understands my numbers. Because at the end of the day, you're building a business here. And it's about the bottom line profits. It's not about all the fancy stuff that you're probably fretting over and trying to get perfect. It's not about that. It's about speed of implementation, of actually getting your marketing material launched so you actually can begin to start gathering data to determine if your marketing efforts are actually succeeding. And the only, and I want to be super passionate about this so this lands right between your eyes, the only way for you to know whether what you're doing is successful or not is not by a gut feeling. It's not by emotions. It's not by what you're feeling, because in marketing, same in life, feelings are not facts. The only thing that will tell you whether you're succeeding or not with any marketing campaign is the data. And when you transition from making emotional-based decisions about your marketing and about whether something's successful or not, and transition over to making data-based decisions. I work with clients and companies all the time. They get a feeling about this, and they get a feeling about that. And guess what? I used to be that same type of entrepreneur in marketing. I get a feeling about this, and I get a feeling about that. And I just had feelings all over the place about my business and my marketing and what I should and shouldn't be doing. And guess what? None of it mattered. Because at the end of the day, I had no clue what was actually going on in my marketing campaigns because I wasn't tracking anything. And so, again, hopefully this is giving hope to some of you introverts or analytical thinkers, to let you know that you don't have to be a A-type personality to succeed in business, and especially succeed in online marketing. Oh no. You can be more successful than all A-type charismatic personalities if you get really diligent and really obsessive about tracking data and making data data-based decisions. And nowadays, you have all the tools. For example, on your advertising platforms, Facebook, Google, all of them, they provide you all the numbers in very readable formats, not as hard as you think it is. Most people fret over placing ads and they never even log into the advertising platform. I mean, trust me, there's grandmas out there that are placing ads for their, little pot holders that they're knitting, and they're placing Facebook ads and selling them, while many of us online marketers who are all got our MacBooks and our iPads and our iPhones, and we are scared to go place an ad. It's not about that. It's not about any of that. It's about preparing your data tracking sheet so you can track your numbers. And that is the difference between a successful and an unsuccessful marketer these days. So I hope that you'll pay close attention now this week and gain the courage and the confidence, mostly the courage, right? Because going in marketing is a courageous thing. You have to push through some fears and put yourself out there and develop some content and just throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what'll stick. That's how you get started at first. And then as that data comes back, you'll plug it into this data tracker that we're providing you here as a bonus today on this lesson, and you'll plug it in and you'll track your metrics. That's my hope for you, is that you'll track your metrics and you'll make database decisions. And if you do that, my friend, then you'll be successful. And if you don't, it's not that you'll be unsuccessful. You'll just be lost. You won't know what's going on in your business, and you'll just be making emotion-based decisions. Okay? So let me know down in the comments that you are going to make a commitment. If you would, please, I invite you to do this. Make a commitment to not base decisions off of emotions, but make that transition to making data-based decisions. Okay? And say, I'm committed to making data-based decisions. A light bulb went off, Dave. I'm committed to tracking my data and my metrics so I know what's going on in my business. And I appreciate you. Let us know if you have any questions down below, and we'll see you on the next lesson.